Happy Friday, guys. Today we finished up chapter 5, so now it's your turn to show me what you know. So the test is exactly like the review test that we did. Just had to change up the numbers. So a couple things that I want to point out to you. One, there are 8 questions again that you have to show work for. So you do have 2 pages of work boxes, and they are numbered. The number goes with the number of the problem that belongs in there. So problems 1 and 2 you'll do here, problems 7 and 8, as well as 12, 13, 14, and 15. You have to turn in those 2 pages in order to get your credit for showing your work. Showing your work is worth 16 points on this test. So if you do not turn in those 2 pages, you instantly lose 16 points off of your grade. So please, please make sure that you fill those out. Please make sure that you show your work the right way. That means going through the whole division process and showing me each step. For number 1 and number 2, you're just going ahead and dividing, so pretty simple there. Remember though, when they're written like this, they, when you put it into the bracket, the first number that you see, which is 8.40, is always on the inside, and the second number is on the outside. Okay, so remember the first number is the dividend, the second number is the divisor. Number 3 says Colton solved the equation shown. 14 divided by 10 to the third power equals n, which correctly states the solution and an explanation of how he solved this equation. So the first thing you'd want to do is solve 14 divided by 10 to the third power. We know that the exponent of 3 is telling us how many places we have to move our decimal. So it's telling us we have to move it 3 places, and we know that when we divide by powers of 10, we move to the left. So all you have to do is move your decimal 3 places to the left, and then find which answer below, A, B, C, or D, tells us to move the decimal to the left and gives you the correct answer. Number 4 and 5, you're again just moving your decimal. This one has a power of 2, and this one has the power of 3. So for number 4, you're moving your decimal 2 places to the left. And then you have to see, does that match the answer here that they gave you? If you get a different answer, so then you're going to mark this problem as false. If you get the same answer, you would mark it as true. Number 5, determine if the equation is true or false. Same thing again. This time you're going to move it 3 places. If it matches the answer they give you right here, it's true. If it doesn't, then it is false. Number 6, we're still moving our decimals. This time you're dividing it by 100, and that has 2 zeros, so you would move your decimal 2 places to the left. If it matches what the answer is here, then it's true. If it doesn't, then it is false. Number 7, Layla has a spool of ribbon that is 30.5 yards long. She will cut the ribbon into 5 equal pieces to make bows. What is the length of the piece of ribbon? So all you have to do is divide 30.5 divided by 5. Number 8, Wyatt is training for a race. When he trains, he runs a total of 29.4 miles each week. How many miles did Wyatt run in one day? So this is the same like the problem we did in class. We know that there are 7 days in a week. So all you have to do is take 29.4 divided by 7. Number 9, Which expression is equal to 16.25 divided by 2.5? So this was that one that was a little bit tricky. So remember, what you need to do here is you can see that I have a decimal in my divisor. So that means I have to move my decimal point to the right in order to get a whole number of 25. If I move it in the divisor, I have to move it in my dividend here as well. So if I move it here, I'm going to have to move it here. And in that case, you have to figure out which one of these gives you your new problem once you move the decimal. Number 10, Brooke has 125 feet of yarn. And she is going to make 100 bracelets. And she uses the same amount of yarn to make each bracelet. How much yarn will Brooke use to make one bracelet? So all you're doing is dividing. So it would really look like this. And that's a power of 10. And I have 2 zeros. So that means I move my decimal 2 places to the left. Remember, it's here on a whole number. And so you're going to move it 2 places to the left, and then you write your new answer on the line. Don't forget your labels. So this one was dealing with feet, so you'd want to make sure that you had it on your, or with your answer. All right. The last couple problems here. So 11, I didn't ask you to show your work on the work paper. However, you do have to do some work to solve it. Remember, this is the one that is our only estimate problem. And you have to pick 2 answers. Henry drove 357.3 miles. For each gallon of gas, the car can travel 21 miles. Select a reasonable estimate of the number of gallons of gas Henry used. Mark all that apply. So, if you remember in class, what I asked you to think about is, think about the divisor first. So remember, this is our divisor. 21 is close to, and I'm sure most of you know what to estimate that to. And then you take 357.3, and you have to ask yourself, okay, what can my divisor go into evenly? So you would change 357.3 to 2 different numbers. Remember, you go high and you go low. And then when you divide them by your new divisors, you'll get your answers to pick the 2 answers for number 11. Don't hesitate to look at your review test and your notes so that you can see how we solve this in class. This will help you tremendously. Number 12, Allison is making small bags of dried fruit from a large bag of dried fruit that weighs 5.46 pounds. She puts the same amount in each of the 6 bags. How much will each bag weigh? So again, you're just going to go ahead and divide that. So 6 on the outside, 5.46 on the inside. And you're dealing with pounds, so don't forget to label your answer. 13, that's pretty simple. You're just dividing. Remember, the first number's on the inside. Your second number's on the outside. 14, Everett buys cucumbers that cost 62 cents per pound. He pays $2.79 for the cucumbers. How many pounds of cucumbers did, and it should say Everett actually buy. So again, you just have to simply divide. So you put $2.79 on the inside and 62 cents on the outside. And if you're noticing here, we do have to move our decimal because we have a decimal in our divisor. So when you move your decimal, don't forget you have to move it on the inside number as well. Your goal is to have a whole number on the outside, not a decimal. So then you'll solve that. And just as a little clue, the last 2 questions on this test, actually, you will also be adding a 0 in order to solve. So the last 2 problems, you will have to add a 0 in order to finish solving the problems. And the last one is pretty self-explanatory again. So I have 2.43 on the inside and 0.54 on the outside. You are going to have to move your decimal, and you are going to have to add a 0 in order to finish solving it so that you do not have a remainder. So remember, no remainders. Not one question on here will you have a remainder. Also, you will not have more than 2 decimal places after the decimal. So if you end up with a number with like 4 or 5 numbers past the decimal, you divided wrong somewhere. So stop and go back and try to figure out where you messed up. So don't forget our steps here, that we have to solve it on paper. Then we're going to go and we're going to put our answers in quizzes. And you guys need to be very, very careful on that. You should not be entering answers like this. We do not need all those zeros there. Or if you have like 2 zeros like this at the end, they're not needed unless you had numbers. Maybe I should put it here. If it was like that. Remember how I said you have to have a number above each number on the inside? So that's okay there. Sorry guys, the bell's ringing. But be careful you're not adding a bunch of unnecessary zeros. Be careful that you're spelling labels correctly and using correct labels, or it is going to mark your answer wrong. Make sure that you're actually typing in the right digits that you intend to be typing in. A lot of you are making, putting a 4 for a 3 on accident. Take your time. You have 15 minutes to answer each question. There's no reason, if it's already done on paper, that you can't take an extra second to make sure that you typed in the right answer before hitting submit. Also, if you haven't caught on yet, I let you take it up to 3 times. So if you take it once and you fail it, go back and look at your work. Try again. Try to fix some problems, and then go back on quizzes and take it again. You can take it up to 3 times. So it will always take your highest score. So please try it again if you don't do well. But don't just get on quizzes and try again. Like, I want you to actually work out the problems again that you need to work on and try to get a higher score. All right, guys, so that's it. Don't forget, if you need help with anything, you need to send me a picture of your work or a picture of the problem, and let me know what you need help with on Remind, because I'll be in meetings. So send me a Remind if you need any help, because I will not be on live on Friday. All right, guys, good luck. I know that you will do great, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.